Welcome into the big three, man. Today, my three topics for you. First, on the skill side, we are going to break down the 5 steps to train this summer. How do you train this summer to where you're going to get better by the time the school year starts? Okay. Secondly, we're going to get into your ankles. We're going to break down how you can build and develop your ankles. I know that's one of the biggest injuries we have at Supers. I'm going to help you out with that one. Last but not least, we're going to get into the 5 C's of confidence, man. Hoopers, we struggle with our confidence, man. If you've been hooping long enough, you definitely hit this wall with your confidence. So we're going to break down and get into it in today's Big Three. Yo, what is going on, man? I am BeBall Jones. I am simply a basketball trainer that is here to bring you the blueprint, the stories, and the mindset to help you make progress in your game. Appreciate you tuning in. Let's get it. This summer, I'm giving you like 5 steps for you to get better this summer. For you to work on your game, make sure you're getting better this summer. All right. So first and foremost, you need to have a goal. Get your goal down. What are we going after, people? Ladies and gentlemen, what is the goal? By the time August or September gets here, what are the things that we're going to say we got better at? You need to have a goal. All right. Secondly, I need to have a plus one and a minus one. What is the plus one and minus one? What is the thing that we're adding? What's the thing that we're taking away? Third, you need to plan it. You feel me? You have to put it in your plan, get in a schedule, write it down, plan it in there. You feel me? Make a plan for how you're going to get better at this thing. Fourth and foremost, track it. You have to measure it. Make sure that you're actually getting better at this goal. Last but not least, matter of fact, I'm gonna hold off on that one because that's the most important one. I'm gonna hold off on that one. Get back to that one at the end. So let's go back to number one. First and foremost, get your goal. Okay. Like in the game of basketball, there's this thing called a basketball goal. And you take that little ball, orange or brown ball, you have to throw it in that goal. Okay. That's what we're doing here. We're taking ourselves, we're taking this plan, we're aiming it at that goal. All right. So you need to get a goal. You can have a mixture between a short term and a long term goal. So short term can be like, I want to make the team this year, or I want to be able to be a star this year. I want to be able to become the best player on my team this year. Long term is, I want to play college ball. I want to play pro ball. I want to be at this level doing these things. You need to figure out how those two plans coincide together. Because if I have a big idea and a big plan to play pro ball, but then I'm not training short term to work on this goal to get me to play pro ball, it's kind of not making sense on why we're doing it. So make sure you have the long term and short term goal, and those two plans go together. Okay. So when you come down to writing your goals, write down a list of about 10 things you want to get better at. So let's say, first and foremost, get more detail with these things. The older you are, the more detailed we should be. So write down a list of about 10 things you want to get better at. So I want to get better at my ball handling. I want to get better at my shooting. I want to get better at my finishing. That's a terrible list. Don't write that one. Throw that away. I want to get my ball handling. I want to get better at my pick and roll ball handling, decision making with that. I want to get better at handling ball pressure. I want to get better at dribbling with my left hand. Those are way better things to write down from a ball handler. If I want to get better at my shooting, I want to get better at catching shooting, I want to get better at shooting off the dribble, shooting going to my left, shooting going to my right, shooting with closeouts, figuring out decision making. Do I shoot or do I drive? I need to work on my finishing. Do I get finished with my left, finishing with contact, finishing faster when I'm going downhill out more? Do I finish versus a big or a shot blocker? Figuring out these things, that next step detail of what are we working on, helps you figure out your goals a lot better. So write down 10. If you can't do 10, that's perfectly fine. No worries. Write down the biggest list that you can. And then once you get done with that 10, scrap 9 of them. Because I want you to figure out what is the most important thing for us to work on this summer. Because it doesn't make sense for us to work on 10 things. I want you to become a level of mastery when it comes down to this. I want to be a level of confidence to know that I worked on this thing. I got better at this thing this summer, or these things. So scrap that 10 list, condense it down, squeeze it down to one. No more than 3 things. I want you to have no more than 3 things. Because once again, you don't want to become pretty good or decent at all these things. You want to become as great as you can at these things. I know you're trying to figure out, man, how do I figure out what to cut it down to? I really need to get better at all these things. I need to become better at shooting like this and better at dribbling like that. I got you. No worries. I tell my players this when I'm training them all the time. So, hey, what are we working on right now? Then they do the same thing, telling me all these things we want to work on. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's say, for whatever reason, we only had time to work on one thing this entire summer. What's the one thing you feel like will make the biggest change to your game or add to your game the most, so where you know that you went from this level player to a higher level player? You went from level C player to a level B player. What's that one thing that will make your game take that next jump, that next leap. Then it makes more sense to be like, oh, I need to work on my ball handling a lot more. Definitely going to my left and handling pressure overall. All right, boom. That's the thing we're gonna work on this summer. Then I say, okay, for the top two, because you do have a little more time with me. What's the top two? So we got that down. Boom. If we work on this and one more thing, what's that second thing we're going to be working on? Oh man, I need to get better on my catch and shoot because I'm a wing, and when I'm handling the ball, I don't handle the ball as well as I want to because they crowd me and pressure because they know I can't dribble. But then when I get the ball on the wing or in the corner, be able to catch and shoot because I coach like us to shoot threes. Now we have a great idea. So you need to be able to handle the ball a little bit better because you will be playing from some wing to a little bit of guard sometimes. And you need to be able to handle the catch and shoot pressure. So we're going to work on the ball handling, especially handling that left, but also going to be working on your catch and shooting threes. Boom, we got our goal for the summer. That's what we're working on. And now we got our main things. You can add a third thing if you want to. Same process. We work on these two things. What's the one more thing you can add that for these three goals, we're going to get 10 times better this summer? Easy way to think about it. Easy way to break it down to where it makes sense to you that you know this is the goal we're going after. So now step number 2, +1, -1. So what is the one thing we're going to add to make sure we're getting better at this? So if my goal is to become a better ball handler, I'm going to add 10 more minutes of ball handling every day, um, before practice, after practice, whatever. Or I'm going to add shooting. I'm going to add watching film. I'm going to do more things. What's the one more thing I'm going to do? And then this is very important too. I need you to make a -1 list because this is the thing that kind of trips us up. Like we think, well, we can continue on being the same person we've been by just adding this thing on. No, no, no. You have to take some stuff off of you too. So it's only 24 hours in a day. You have to subtract some things too. If you're going to add more to your plate, you have to subtract some things off of there too. So maybe this is a tough one right here. You need to cut off a friend. That friend who is not the greatest basketball player and not even pushing to be a better hooper might not be the friend you want to have around as much. I'm not saying completely take them out your life, but I'm saying you might want to cut down minus some of the time you're spending with them. Maybe it's that habit that you have. Maybe the fact that you don't go to bed until like 10, I mean, my bad, 10 is great. You're only gonna go to bed to like 12 or 1 o'clock every night. Maybe you need to cut down on that habit and need to add better sleep. Maybe you need to cut down eating so much junk food and crap all the time and just add a little bit more to your life. So the +1 thing that I did for me, man, when I was in college, I knew I needed to eat better, just for health's sake. You feel me? I wasn't hooping like that for real, but I wanted to be healthier and get better benefits long term and overall. So I was like, man, I'm not really gonna cut down as much on the junk food, but I'm gonna just add carrots to my meals. That's gonna help me. I'm already lifting, I'm already doing other things. I just need to continue to add to my nutrition of making sure I'm eating better, eating healthier. So I wanted to add carrots. Now, every time I went into the caf to eat, I would take the scoop thing or whatever it was, however the tons, whatever, and I make sure I get like a amount that made me just over uncomfortable to where I would, get better, but not too little to where I know I'm not pushing myself where I need to be. So I figure out at that point and I'm like counting them up, like, man, I gotta do, I forgot what it was, maybe like a scoop full of them. I had to get at least 5, something like that. I had some number in my head. But I had to make sure I got this thing because I had to add carrots into my nutrition to make sure I'm doing better. So that's my goal for like a month or so. I forgot how long I did it, but if I knew for this time frame I had to add this thing. And minus this thing, I had to cut down, you know, drinking sodas or whatever it was. I don't think I was drinking sodas at that time, but I had to cut some things off to make room for this one more thing to add to my overall goal of working out and being healthier. So figure out your +1 and your -1 system. Next, you have to sit here and make time to do this thing. So you can sit here and make all the excuses in the world, but you have time to make this stuff happen. So you can't say you got busy. You can't say this happened, this popped up. Because if you really care about this thing, you really care about getting better at this goal of becoming a better basketball player, you're going to make time for it. You're going to schedule it out. So like I said, if my goal is to become a better ball handler, hand the ball with my left, I'm going to sit down and say, hey, every morning I'm going to spend 10 minutes doing some ball handling drills. Every morning before practice or after practice, before I go to bed, I'm going to do 10 push-ups. I know I need to get stronger, get better in the weight room. Need to sit down and plan it. Make a time. I'm going to schedule this as my time every single day or ever how often you need to be doing that thing. but prioritize is the most important thing. So when you care about this thing enough, you're going to make it a priority to make sure it gets done. And you get that done by having time. So I thought about this one day, like if you had the calendar, you see people's calendars, and it's like, uh, they have the Google calendar things like from 5 to this time, 5 to 9, you got this blue block of time, and then from 9 to 11, it's this yellow block of time, and it's just time blocked and color coded like that. Or you get a school schedule and you see from this time to this time is this thing, this time to this time is this thing, this time to this time is this class. So you only have another 15 minutes of free time to do X, Y, and Z. All right. So that's an easy way for you to segment your life to say, well, I know every day from 8 to 9, I'm going to be working on my ball handle, I'm working on watching film, I'm going to be working out in the weight room, whatever. So now it's easy for you to prioritize other things in your life because I'm not available from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. or from 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. or 9 p.m. because that time is dedicated to what? My goal this summer. So if you really care about it and you really want to get better at it, you'll sit down and make time for it, make a priority because now you schedule things around that goal because that matters to you the most. And fourth, if you really want to get better, track and measure your goals. And so if you're going to make sure, if I want to become a better shooter, a better free throw shooter, I'm going to make sure beginning of summer, I'm shooting my free throws. When I'm tired, I'm going to do say I'm going to run a mile, and then I'm going to sit down and shoot my 10 free throws. I'm going to get my percentage down. So the first time I do it, I run a mile, I'm gassed, I'm tired, I shoot 50%. Ooh, that's trash. By the end of the summer, right before school starts, run my mile again, I come back, shooting 80%. It's like, oh man, I got better. You tracked it to know that you gotten better at this skill that you want to work on. And some things aren't going to be as black and white as tracking and measuring the skill. Let's say um, you want to finish against a shot blocker. It's tough to measure. You don't know exactly how you got better at that sometimes. So the way you can track it this time is to put yourself in a position to challenge it. So if you might want to track it by saying, I'm going to hoop once a week or twice a week against these players and make sure that old buddy's there who's a shot blocker. I know that girl right there. She's a great defender, so I'm gonna challenge myself against her. So I'm gonna track and see how I do against them defending me to make sure I'm getting better at the thing to track it now. So you might not get better at tracking it more objectively saying I shot this percentage and shooting this percentage, but I know I got better because my play or performance against this defender, against this player, person, whatever, has gotten better. But it might be something like a ball handling drill. You got 90 minutes to do this 90 seconds to do this ball handling drill, and I got it done within this time frame of doing uh, 100 dribbles in 90 seconds. But then by the end of summer, you have to get 219 dribbles in 90 seconds. You got better. You got to track it. You know you got better. You tracked it, you measured it, boom, you got better. But now, the fifth step, the most important step, is to sit here and lock in your brain that this is not negotiable. This is not something I can waver on. I'm not adjusting this. I'm not changing this. This is my goal. I'm going to do it. You're going to commit to it. Because the biggest thing that happens for people when it comes to goals, like the thing that universally comes to setting new goals and well wishes is every single year, December 31st, New Year's resolutions. The thing that makes the difference between people who have New Year's resolution and don't do it, and the people who have New Year's resolutions and do it, is that commitment. The difference between the player who said they're going to get better and the player who actually gets better is the commitment stage. That bridge is going to be the commitment to it because things are going to happen. You're going to oversleep that day. You're going to be tired and go to bed. You're going to have a headache. All these things happen. You're going to have days where you mess up 1 through 4, and that's fine. You're going to forget the track it that day. You're not going to really plan it that well. Your plan fell apart that day because your mom woke you up and said, we have to go out here and do this thing. You're going to be sick, which is fine. You're going to have days where you want to change the goals and rearrange things. That's fine too. But the end goal is I'm going to commit to putting something out there. I'm not going to give it completely. I have to get something down to say I got better. I'm going to commit to putting in the work to make sure I'm getting better at this goal. So you have to sit there and tell yourself, I'm going to commit to this goal. I'm going to do this because I want to get better and improve my game because I said so. That's the most important step, you guys. You got to commit to it. Make sure that I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. Nothing feels better than keeping your word to yourself, most importantly. Like when you're able to keep your word to somebody else, you're building some uh, you're building good word and good faith with them, because if I said I'm going to do this thing and I did it for them, next thing I say it can be more believable. But nothing feels better than doing that for yourself. If you tell yourself I'm going to do something, you actually go and do it. Something within yourself just feels better because you're not a liar. You're not lying to yourself now. So I want you guys to write down these goals, your 10 goals. Cut it down to no more than 3. 1 to 3 goals you're gonna have. Then cut the fat off of it. Whatever that is. Then you're gonna do plus one, minus one. One thing I'm gonna do to add to get to this goal. One thing I'm gonna take away to get to this goal. Next, you're gonna sit down, get a planner, timer, schedule it out, whatever you need to do to make sure you're gonna get this goal down, because you have it scheduled and you blocked out. It's a priority to you because you put it down on your calendar, you put it down on your phone, whatever. To make sure it gets done. Fourth, you're going to track and measure. Every day, you're going to shoot your free throws. Every day, you're going to go out and do this. But every Friday, every 2 weeks, I'm going to measure and see if my mile time went down. I got in more shape. Every 2 weeks, I'm going to put more on that bench press, see if I got stronger. And then once you get done with that, make sure it's non-negotiable. Sign a contract with yourself saying, this is what I'm going to get done. This is what's going to happen. And you do it. If you can figure out a way to get this thing done, you're going to make so much more progress in your game, because the average player is going out there and not taking it seriously. They're just kind of going through the motions. They're going out there shooting around, or they're just hooping all summer with no level of training, no level of intention behind what they're doing, thinking they're getting better. And they probably are getting a little bit better. But when you know without a shadow of a doubt, I said I was going to work on this thing. I spent time. You can track and measure and see how you did it. And then you look at the end of summer and you know you got incrementally better doing this thing. That next level of confidence comes upon you. And you're like, I got better at this thing. I know you're not going to stop me now. So lock in. These are your 5 steps to getting better this summer with your training. I appreciate you tuning in. See you.
Hey, hold on. Time out real quick. We're going to get back to the episode. I know you're enjoying it. I know you're enjoying the show. But I need you to help me real quick, and to make sure that this episode can grow, make sure this podcast, the show can grow overall, and you can keep getting great guests like this. Make sure that you subscribe and follow along. So if you watch right now on YouTube, help me out by hitting the subscribe button. Go ahead and do it real quick. If you're listening in your car, chill out for a second. If you're on Apple or on Spotify, just like when you get a moment, hit the follow button, but not right now while you're driving. If you're working out or something, or you're chilling in your room, then go ahead and subscribe with me. Like, help me help you, okay? But thank you for watching. I really appreciate you. I'm gonna stop interrupting. Let's get back to the episode. Thank you.
So we're talking about how to build up your ankles for basketball. And interview I did with Dr. Myles Murphy, we broke down and talked about how you can rehab and perform to get your ankles better and healthier. I'm going to kind of spill more on this for you guys. And if you need more info on that, go watch the interview on my podcast channel at BeBall Jones Podcast. Go back and listen to it if you want more of this breakdown for you guys from a for real person. Like, he's a doctor. You feel me? I'm just a trainer, like to talk about the game, say a little bit and give it to you guys. So he's somebody for real in this game that has a lot of credibility in this. And so if you want more on this, go rewatch and re-listen to that interview. If not, I'm gonna give you my little spiel here. So the 3 areas we're going to really focus on is going to be, first, working on some plyometrics. 2, going to be working on strengthening the muscles and everything in and around the ankle. And last, going to be proprioception. It's basically just a fancy word for balance and knowing where you are in space. So when it comes to plyometrics, this is very important because you have this thing called the Achilles tendon in the back of your leg. And you have little ligaments and things that's attaching your bones and ligaments, and all these things together, keep it connected. And plyometrics basically is a way to make sure that these things are staying strong and able to perform while you're going out there and lifting and working out and everything, or while you're out there hooping, running, cutting, jumping, all this great stuff that you're doing on the basketball court. So to strengthen your tendons and all these little things, you need to do some very low level plyometrics. So I'm not talking about the things you see people going up and try to dunk. I'm not talking about trying to jump on this, 4 foot tall plyo box. I'm not trying to talk about jumping over hurdles. I'm talking about jumping up and trying to smack the wall. I'm just talking about very low level, called it extensive plyometrics, or very low level plyometrics. Something like jumping rope, very light, something that's not going to cause too much wear and tear on your body, but it's going to help build the tendons up and called build capacity. Basically thinking about, if you have a cup you're going to expand the cup, and the cup's going to get bigger, or a bowl going to get bigger to where you can pour more into it now. So if your ankles are able to have healthy tendons, you can load them up better. So now you're going to do better when it comes to these bigger jumps, or doing more of these jumps throughout the season, throughout the year. So if you're able to do your jump ropes, or maybe you're doing lateral line hops, 1 foot and 2 foot, progressing things that way, able to really make more gains and more benefits to your tendons and ligaments, everything down from the knee and below. Now you can have healthy ankles and healthier feet, healthier, everything from the leg below. But one thing you can do that will really help you out is really scaling it through a thing called a metronome. Metronome is basically a thing that keeps pace in music. If you ever hear musicians go off and it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That thing is basically a metronome that keeps them on certain beats, keep them on cadence, keep them on time, keep them in rhythm. So you use this for yourself, for your biometrics, as a way to kind of measure and track the speed or the force you're putting in with these jumps. So get the metronome and put it at 60 BPM, or beats per minute. When you do this, you're going to jump and land on the beat. So at 60, you're going to jump and land at that pace. If that's easy for you, you're going to do this for about 20 seconds. That's easy for you. Jump up to about 75 beats per minute, and jump up to about 90, jump up to about 100 and 115. And then go about no more than like 125, or 115. And once that gets easy, you're going to restart and go back down to the next second. So you go 20 seconds, then you might want to go about 25, and then go about 30, 35, 45, up to a minute. So if all those are easy for you at 60 beats per minute, you're going from 20 seconds at 60 beats per minute, go to 25, and go up to 30, 35, 45, 60. If that's easy, boom, increase it. So now you're going from 60 beats per minute to like 75 beats per minute. And keep going up there to where you're going to go fully to about 120 something, I believe. And from there, you're going to be able to have better ankles at performance, because you're going to increase the speed. So instead of going 1, 2, 3, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And by increasing that pace and that speed, your tendon and your everything with your ankle and your foot is becoming more accustomed to jumping and landing with this load on there. So now you're going to have better performance when you get back on the court, because your body has of that speed, pace and speed when you're going on the court, cutting and everything. Secondly, we're talking about strengthening them. So when we're talking about strengthening them, obviously the big one you got to take care of is calf raises. That's going to help you strengthen your calf muscle. That calf muscle goes down into the Achilles tendon we talked about earlier. That's going to be strengthening that piece as well. So when you have strong calves, it's going to be able to be stronger ankles, it's going to be able to have stronger feet. You want to make sure that you're also strong, like I said before, with your foot at different angles. So you want to be strong in dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. Basically, your foot's going to be going up and down, basically. You want to be strong in this way by doing your calf raises. Then you're going to be strong called in inversion and eversion. Your foot being able to turn in and out. So the way you do that one is you can get a mini band, and so I have the band pulling my foot this. Sorry for audio listeners, but I have a band attached to my foot this way, and I'm pushing and going out that way. Or I reverse, so I'm going this way. Tension's pulling my foot this way, and my ankle is going to be pulling back that way. That's my foot. So you're going to strengthen it all the way around your ankle by going dorsiflexion and plantar flexion, inversion and eversion by pulling that band. Also, something like I call it, it's called ABCs. So you take your foot and you stick it out, and you're just going through and drawing the alphabet with your foot. And you're doing all capital letters. So you make sure that when you're going through the motion, it has a little bit of mobility in there, and it's going to strengthen your leg about going through all this range of motion. If you want to add more strength to it, you can add weight to it. So you can get a small little band or something, attach it to a light plate, a 5 pound plate, 2.5 pound plate, attach it there, hook it up to your foot so it's hanging off. You can go through the motions. You can do circles, big circles, mini circles, or go through the alphabet as well. That's going to add mobility as well as strength. And proprioception is going to be great for you because you get into a space where you know where your body is. So you get awareness when you're cutting and turning into the lane, you know where somebody's foot is at. And your body's able to recognize where your body's at in this space. So if it lands funny and kind of weird, or you know, the biggest one we always have is I'm going up for a layup and I come back down on somebody's foot. Or I'm jumping up for a rebound, come down on somebody's foot. Without the plyos, without the strength, without the proprioception, your body's not going to be aware of it. It's not going to brace for contact because it's too weak for not being strong enough. Because you jump and land more than like we needed to, you might have a tear in your Achilles. Because the body's not having this built-up awareness of where we are in space, your brain can't brace for that impact like it could or should. So now when you land, the brain's like, oh snap, what happened here? And it's not able to brace for it. So then you have an ankle sprain, you have rolled ankle. So you need to be able to work on a proprioception as well. So you start doing this by going down to this 5 level. Technically 4 levels, but it's going to go 5. So first you're standing on one leg. You're going to be standing up there with your eyes open, going for about a minute. Next, you're going to go and is able to turn your head. Next, you're going to be able to close your eyes. So you stand there, your eyes are closed, just looking straight forward, trying to balance, and you're going to feel the instability in your ankle, but I promise you, you're going to be fine. If you need to, be on the wall, grab a pole, stand on a squat rack or whatever, a chair in front of you to where you catch it if you need to. Now, just on that one leg, your eyes are closed, but now you're still turning your head side to side. And then lastly, you're going to do the same thing all over again, but this time you're going to have your heel elevated, meaning you're going to be standing more on the ball of your foot or on your toes almost. Going back over. So eyes are open, then you're going to turn your head, your eyes are closed, your eyes closed while you're turning your head. All this is going to be great because you're going to be able to have your body and mind be on one balance and say, hey, this is where my body is, this is where I'm at, I'm aware of all these things. And now you're able to really sit down and say, hey, foot, we're here, ankle, we're here, lower legs, we're here. You have the connection now. So now you can control your body a little bit more in this wild game we call basketball. And last but not least, mobility. Now, this is built upon what we did before. And a lot of times we talk about mobility and we think about it as uh, flexibility, same, similar, but different. So with your ankle mobility, you're going to be able to have, once again, that dorsal plantar flexion, you're going to be able to have that in the right way because if your foot and ankle is not able to move how it needs to, it's going to move up to your knee or hips to make sure you get in a position like you need to. So let's say that you're trying to get down the defensive position, or you're trying to explode for a jump or some type, whatever. If your ankle's not able to move, it's going to move instead of coming down looking like more like a squat, look more like a hinge. It's probably the best place for you to be in if your body is performing better in more of a squat pattern. So if you squat down, meaning that your chest is going to be up a little bit more, and you're going to be having more straight up vertical shape to your body almost, rather than a hinge where your chest is going to be down more. Your chest is going to be close to the ground. It's a little bit different for you. So everybody can perform in both of those. You might be better at one than the other. But doing this mobility stuff is going to help you out because now you're able to get your body in a more natural position that it should be in because you're more adept to being, or you perform better being like this in this way. So doing these mobility drills will help you out to get your ankle to move a little bit more, move a little bit better how it needs to, so your body can perform in any position. So wall taps, basically saying that how we're going to get a so we're going to have be in a half kneeling position, and you're going to have your knee close to this wall, and you want to start off having your finger there, and you want to keep adding. Always you get the 4 fingers, or if you need to get always to like a credit card or ID or whatever, you want to have it where your toes are at the end of the card or your fingers. You're going to be able to lean forward and tap your knee to that wall. And that's going to give an indication or just, be aware of how mobile you are in your ankle. And then if you suck at it, all right, cool. We're going to work on it. So you can do things to where you're going to lean and get your knees over your toes more. And you don't want to just do this all body weight, all this little body weight mobility stuff, because it's going to be cool for a moment, but you want to get your body to say, hey, I'm able to move only to here, now from here to here. The way to get that down is by saying, hey, I'm going to add weight and add some load to my body to make you know that, hey, We're going to be here, we're going to be comfortable here, we're going to be strong here too. And you get a lot of times when people do these yoga classes and all these stretches and things, and they're cool for the moment, or they're freeing up in this new range, but they're not strong there. Your body isn't as comfortable there. So you want to add some load to it and be strong in these positions and not just able to move and be free in these positions. So add a little bit of weight. So it might just be uh, same thing in a half bend position. You just lean forward and you just sit there for a second, leaning forward. And you have some weight there. Or then you put some weight on top of your knee. Same thing, leaning forward. And increase the weight, increase the time as you're leaning forward. Get your ankle stronger so you're able to be a little bit more mobile and strong in these positions versus just strong overall or just mobile overall. So this is a breakdown for you. The main core four things you need to have to build your ankles up. You need to be able to have plyometrics, very low level jumps, extensive jumps. You need to be able to strengthen the muscles, mainly calf muscles, but other muscles and smaller muscles around your ankle and your foot and your lower leg. You need to be able to do proprioception of your brain, being aware of knowing where your body is. It's going to be dope for you to know where your body is in space. And last but not least, mobility, so you're able to move and wiggle around how you need to get in and out of the positions to be a dope athletic hooper and mover. So appreciate you tuning in. If you found value in it, drop a comment below. Appreciate you. See you next one.
All right. Okay. Another timeout. Okay. Look, if you got to this point, you have to be enjoying the episode. Like you have to. At this point in the episode, you're enjoying it. So help me help you. Just if you're on Apple right now and you're on your phone, okay, just take your phone, press the subscribe button. It's right there. Just do that with me. Even if on your laptop, take your mouse, boom, click over, boom, do your thing. Now you subscribe. Now you linked in because you don't want to miss the next great episode that I have. But doing stuff like this helps the episode grow, makes the show grow, and the podcast grow so I can keep getting great guests and keep doing great interviews. So if you listen on Apple or Spotify, take a second, look at your phone, press the follow button, okay? And share with a friend or two because you'll find the value in this. You want to have this conversation with your friends so they can have the same value. Now the whole basketball community can grow. All right. Thanks for listening so far. I'm gonna get out your way. Let's get back to the episode. Appreciate you.
Confidence, confidence, confidence. Everybody screams at you to be confident, and people, say how much in the value of being confident is, but you don't always get a dope breakdown of understanding how to actually get your confidence. So help you guys out because I was that hooper too. I was struggling with my confidence when I was younger. I'm still struggling with my confidence in different areas, whether it comes to new territory and business, new territories into my life. When I'm growing and maturing as a young man, I'm getting hit with different factors of my confidence to where I'm not in the most comfortable position. I'm doing things that I haven't done before. It's a little weird for me too, so I'm helping you guys out things I've done and used to grow my confidence, and wish I would have had this when I was younger. So the 5 C's of confidence. First and foremost, competency, meaning are you capable and actually good at doing this thing? So you're looking at your shooting, you're looking at your ball handling. It's hard to be confident if you're not good at it. You feel me? Like if you can sit here and shout all the mantras you want to, you can pray and read scriptures all you want to, write your affirmation, all that stuff, but you're not actually developing, becoming good at the skill of doing this thing. It's just like it's hard to be confident. If you're not, you're gonna have irrational confidence, and it's only so far that can take you. You feel me? Like if you're not actually good at doing the thing, and you in your brain you're not good at doing this thing, then where's the confidence coming from? So competency, actually being good, being capable of doing the thing, really helps you out to be confident. Like if you know you can tie your shoes, you don't get nervous and feel weird. It's like, hey, your shoes untied, you need to tie your shoe. In the middle of the game, your two shoes inside. Oh man, you tie your shoe, move on to the next thing because there's no extra thought put into it because the skill of tying your shoe is something very simple that you've mastered basically at this point. You can close your eyes and do it. You can do it fast. You can do it slow. The skill of tying your shoe is nothing major because you've mastered that skill, or you're at a stage of mastery which is easy for you. So you don't have to overthink it. So same thing on basketball court. The reason why you see some people that step and do these amazing things, it's not that much to them because they've put in so much work to become so competent at this skill, so good and confident at this skill. They put the reps in so much to where it's nothing for them. So it's hard for you to be confident if you're not working on it to be good at it. But the next thing of actually of getting better, the second C in this confidence journey we're going to talk about is challenging yourself. You need to make sure that you're actually trying to work at this skill to getting better at, but then challenging yourself to get better at it. So working on ball handling, right? So developing the skills and things around ball handling. You can work on the cuff, the pound, uh, being able to manipulate the ball, spin, all these little things and skills that go into the actual skill of ball handling. But then you actually have to challenge yourself by saying, hey, I'm gonna push myself out of my comfort zone to do these drills where I'm uncomfortable. Next to a challenge is saying, hey, I'm going to go against a really good, or I'm just going to go against another defender, somebody to put some level of pressure on me to where now I have to measure my skill against this challenge to get this opposition that I'm going against. And you keep increasing. I'm going against a better defender. I'm going to go against a bigger defender. I'm going to go against a faster defender. Somebody who's going to pressure me and get close and get up in me to where I'm not going to be comfortable. Somebody who's laid back and play more of a prevent defense almost, and just contain me in this area. You need the challenge because you're going to push yourself to get, you're going to know when you get out of this challenge to know that I've gotten better at these skills, getting better at this thing. Now it's like easy to say you're better at it or you're good at it because you went and challenged yourself against somebody and now you know without shadow of a doubt that you're good at it now. Without any challenges, it's just like you're a flat line of going through things without knowing how good you got at it. Pretty tough to know if you're good at something, if you're confident about something, without overcoming that hurdle to be like, oh, I did that. That's easy to do now. So you need to challenge yourself to make sure that you're actually getting better at these things, but now they're going to build and grow your confidence to another level. The third C of building confidence, celebrating small wins. And this is something I'm guilty of not doing at all in my life. I would skip over every little small hurdle and small win I got because it's not the end goal. It's like I don't celebrate uh, winning the first quarter. Or I don't celebrate, winning at halftime. I don't celebrate winning the third quarter. I don't celebrate winning X amount of games in the season. I don't celebrate winning the conference finals. I celebrate championship rings. That's the end goal. That's the mentality I have. But I do realize the value in appreciating the milestones along the way. And so I remember when I was doing my podcast and, I got to like 100 episodes and I had coach people telling me, I mean, you should do something for me. You should do a special episode. But in my mind, I'm like, I didn't get into doing this to say I hit 100 episodes. I'm like, bro, I don't care. I really didn't care. I'm just like, whatever. But the appreciation of these small steps along the way can do a lot for you because it takes you a second, like you get a second to reflect and realize you went from being super unconfident in your shooting ability to be able to like do the shooting challenge and feel good about it. You got X percentage better at this drill, or you went from not handling the ball at all to handling a little bit better and being able to do this crossover. Now, you went from not able to handle the ball at all to being able to do this move that you've been messing up on along the way for so long. So celebrating the small wins and small victories along the way helps you realize the growth that you have and it builds your confidence on top of that too. So celebrate the small wins and small victories that help you to get better mentally as far as physically as doing these things to overcome the challenges and overcome your insecurities and not being confident. But fourth, consistency. And I mean this in two different ways. So the first consistency you want to look at is the input, the work that we're doing to get good at this thing. I want to be confident in my shooting. I'm going to go out and train my shooting every day. I want to get better at ball handling. I want to get better at defending. I want to get better at finishing. I'm going to consistently work at this every day. Consistently work on this 5 days a week, whatever it is. But then the next level of real consistency is the output now. So if I'm averaging 20 points a game, I feel consistent. I feel confident knowing that I can put up 20 points a game the next game. But it's hard for me to feel like I can do that if I've never had that output. I've never consistently done that. So if I'm averaging 8 points a season, I don't feel confident saying I can average 20 points a season because I have nothing to say I'm able to do that. But if now my freshman year I averaged 20, it's not unreasonable for me to think I can average 20 my sophomore year. It's not unreasonable for me to think I can go higher than that my next year because I've shown proof. I have the skill of doing it. I went out and did it. I've challenged myself because I did it against all these opponents in these games. I went double team, triple team, boxing one, triangle. I've done against these challenges. And I've celebrated each time I won 20. I celebrated times I only had 16, but I got triple team when I first got thrown into that fire. So along the way, once you consistently put up these numbers and perform at this level, you know that I can perform and do this thing now. But you don't get this consistent output without having a consistent input. So be consistent in the work you're putting in. So now you can have a more consistent output of things you can control. But last but not least, you want to the fifth C in this, you want to be able to compound and combine all these small victories, combine all the things that go right for you. Because without the awareness of it, you getting better at these things, it's really hard for you to really be confident into it. So let's go back to the ball handling example. So you want to combine and just think about all the small victories you had. If you're going through a ball handling drill and you went from messing up 5 times to only messing up 3 times, you went from only dribbling the ball off your foot, you went from dribbling off the foot 10 times to only going off, 8 times. It's a celebration. You should win. But now something in your brain said, let's break this up and do more and do better at it. Let's stack up a lot more small wins. I went from, okay, I went -2. Let's go -2 again. Let's go -3 now. Let's go -2 again. Let's go -1 now. To where now you went from 2 to 2, from 3, that's down 7. So you went from dribbling off your foot 10 times the first day, but then each week you went down that increment, whatever I said. Now you're down to, you dropped 7. Now you're down to 3 times. By the end of the month, you track back over this time and you compounded all these good wins you had. You felt like, bro, you celebrated that now. Because now you went from, man, I'm terrible. I don't turn the ball over 10 times. I done airball 10 times. And now I only airball once. You feel me? Like that's a win for me. But we get to, once again, celebrate the small wins, but you want to combine these small wins. You don't want to have a small win here and then 6 months later you have another small win. No, your brain should be, let's stack these up. Let's get as many small wins as we can. I want to build a little hill over here, a mountain of evidence to say I've grown and gotten better at these things. Now you can say I'm confident at it because my time has went down, my time has went up, my weight has went up, my skill has went up. I've made more shots. I've turned the ball over less. All of these things point to a reason for you to be confident. Without you pointing back and looking at this thing and say, this is proof. This thing right here is why I'm confident, because I've worked at this skill. My competency has gotten better. I've challenged myself against all these people. I've celebrated the small wins and victories I've gotten. I've been able to consistently have this input. I've consistently had this output. And now I'm stacking up all these things together to say, hey, I've gotten better at this thing. If you can get all 5 of these things down, if you can get all 5 of these C's down to show proof to yourself, there's no reason why you can't be confident. There's no reason why you can't grow your game. There's no reason why you can't grow in life too. You can do all these things. You can combine these 5 things. You will grow your game and you will become a more confident player. So let me know which C hits you the most. What's the C that you look back and it's like, man, if I can really challenge, I haven't been challenging myself. I haven't been getting out my comfort zone and doing that next level thing to help me grow my game. I haven't been as consistent as I wanted to with input. And matter of fact, I've been consistent with the input, but I still haven't gotten the output that I wanted to have. That's why you're not confident still. So let me know which C resonates with you and it hits you right there in your soul, right there in your gut where you feel it the most. Let me know which C helps you out and you're gonna, apply it to your game to be more confident. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a good one.